So I got to be honest with you. It took me a minute to make this type of video because I wanted to make sure that when I talked about this specific person, that it wasn't a fluke and that I didn't rush to judge him in a good light and then just see him kind of fall off. But now I can't hold back anymore. CJ Stroud is him. And there's stats. There's just a whole lot of things to back this up, especially after this last week's performance just today. Him coming back and leading his team to a game-winning drive against the Bengals. Very, very good performance from C.J. Stroud versus Cincinnati. And now the question is he potentially an MVP candidate? It's crazy to say, as a rookie, you're talking about a guy who since day one has come in and has developed and kind of made the Texans a better team than what they were supposed to be. We know Houston is on anybody's radar as being a playoff contender or a championship contender. But to come into the season and to now be 5-4 is beyond expectations. Let's just be honest. And of course, the cliches come with a CJ Stroud coming from Ohio State. We know, even with Justin Fields here in Chicago, that everybody always says that Ohio State quarterbacks, for whatever reason, when they get to the next level, do not transition their game well because they come from a program that pretty much provides all of the greatness for them. Great wide receivers, great offensive linemen, great defenses. It's a lot of great people that come from Ohio State and get to the league. But when it comes to quarterbacks, it doesn't seem like it transfers over where there's a great prospect and then he becomes a great prospect or a great quarterback in the NFL. But what I think we're seeing is someone that is bucking that trend. And you look at CJ Stroud's numbers today, very, very good. He was 23 for 39 against Cincinnati for 364 total yards, 2 touchdowns, 9.1 yards per average. And of course, like I mentioned, that game-winning drive to get them in field goal position where they won 30-27 over Joe Burrow and those boys in Cincinnati. Again, I don't want to make this seem like I'm just losing my mind, but the stats and the numbers back it up. And that's what we always talk about. I was talking to somebody, I believe, in the comment section one time, and they said, hey, we got to go to the stats. Stats matter, right? Well, let's look at his stats for the entire season, shall we? This dude, for the season now, has 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2,626 passing yards, a 61.6 completion percentage, a 101.1 quarterback rating. And now the Texans lead the NFL with the most 20-plus yard plays in the season. And you think, well, maybe he has the team around him to do that. Because you look at the likes of a great team like Philly, who has pretty much everything. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they got a vaunted defense from top to bottom. They have a great offensive line with Jason Kelsey and those boys. You would think that, okay, well, what do the Houston Texans have? Well, I'll start with the head coach. They have a very good head coach that plays to the strengths of his players, especially his quarterback, where he creates a system around him to be successful despite the names on the roster. DeMeco Ryans is a very underrated coach. I'm just going to say it right now. DeMeco Ryans needs to be up for Coach of the Year just because of the work that he's done already in this past few games. You got a cast of Nico Collins. Nobody knew about Nico Collins. Dalton Schultz, decent, but not one of the top, you would think, top tight ends in the league. Devin Singletary, who's a cast off from the Bills, who had a very, very good game today. Tank Dell, he's a rookie. He's still trying to find his footing, but he's still pretty good. Had a good game, I believe, today. Robert Woods. Last time you heard Robert Woods being great was when he was with the Rams and Cooper Kupp that first year. And so this culmination of all of these players who you would think would be kind of like maybe second tier type receivers or second tier type running backs, they're not the stars of their team individually. They're putting these pieces together and they're winning. And it's all because of the way that CJ Stroud is playing. I watched the highlights today, and CJ Stroud sometimes makes something out of nothing. And that's the mark of a special player, is when things break down and you see him scrambling and he's still being able to throw crisp passes down the field. He can throw darts. It was a very, very good ball game by CJ Stroud. And this is not the only time he's done it. Like I said, over the course of the season, he's had over 300-plus yard passing games in wins. And so I think it's now time. Maybe him not winning the MVP, but being in that conversation is a real thing, despite him being a rookie. Forget rookie status or the label of being a first year quarterback. The man is doing his job. And I will be the first one to say that comparatively to Justin Fields, because here in Chicago, we all want Justin Fields to be successful, right? He's had 3 years to try and get his traction, even though I would say 2 years, really, because the first year Matt Nagy didn't really do a whole lot to make him successful and to fit the scheme and the players around him for him to succeed. And so I'm going to say for the last 2 years, we've tried to see Justin Fields make the strides and make the progression that CJ Stroud in his first few games in the season has already done. So comparatively, right now, I got to be honest, CJ Stroud is is way ahead of Justin Fields in the potential category and the stats that he's putting up. Over 2,600 yards is very good at the half season mark. You're talking about a quarterback that could go over 5,000 yards in his first season in the NFL on a mediocre team. The Texans are not world beaters. Again, we're going to be real here. But what he's doing is special. And that's exactly what you want to turn a franchise around, especially a franchise like the Texans, who have been in disarray in certain moments. You know, they had their franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson, and then we know what happened with that situation. He broke off from the team. There were some issues going on in the front office that were very questionable as far as and the way they were managing the team. And so the fact that they have another potential star quarterback on their hands, a generational talent like CJ Stroud, is a very good start for that front office and for the Texans. And so hopefully, comparatively, like I said, when you look at the Bears, hopefully that's something that they can commit to, is when you have the right pieces in the front office, when you have the right head coach who commits to making sure that he puts his quarterback in the best position to be successful, the best position to win, despite the lack of talent. There's no knock on the receiving core. There's no knock on the running back core. But there's no special names on this team. There's no Saquon Barkley. There's no Christian McCaffrey. There's no Justin Jefferson. There's no DJ Moore on this team. And so that's why when you look at where the Bears are at and what you could see the Texans potentially doing even in this season, that's why you question the front office and the head coaching and the decisions by the GM and who he's brought into this building to lead this team and to make every player continue to be better. Player development is a very important part of a person going from good to great. And so we see that with CJ, and I just want to give a big ups to that organization. Houston Texans are doing it right. CJ Stroud is doing his thing, and I think that's not a fluke. I think it's going to continue. I mean, he's had a number of games now against great teams like the Bengals, who on paper is good. They're having a really down season, and Joe Burrow is not being Joe Burrow right now. But still, you play who you go out there to play, right? You play the team that's in front of you, and CJ Stroud is thriving in the league right now. So big ups to him, big ups to the Texans. I foresee that he's going to continue his upward trajectory. And so I want to get you guys' thoughts on that in the comment section. Do you think that CJ Stroud is the real deal? When we talk about MVP conversations, would you put him in there right now with the other likely MVPs of the league? Because I can see him being right there with the Christian McCaffrey, at least in talks. Not just saying that, okay, he'll win it automatically, but being in the conversation as a rookie is still special. And so do you all think CJ Stroud is a special quarterback? I'll be with you all in the comment section, and I will see you guys on the next ATS Report.